Beautiful bike. It's truly, truly something special. I take back everything I said. It is fascinating. Generally, I love it. I really, really do. And I love this. Look at that. Steering lock's on. All I've got to do is focus on getting my gloves on and getting in there. Welcome back. This is the bike stop. If you haven't been here before, it's fantastic. It is much bigger than it looks as well. It seems to go on forever up there. In fact, it does. It goes on above that building as well. But it's an absolutely wonderful place, the bike stop. And Martin, the guy who runs it, really great. Does lots of bike ride outs as well. So I think the first Sunday of every month he does a ride out, and about 60 people come along roughly. I think he's had more, I think he's had less, but the nice thing about their ride outs is they're not like the Ace Cafe ride outs where everyone's just showing off. There's genuinely nice people who come to these ride outs most of the time. So I had hoped to support him by going to his coffee shop today, but unfortunately it's shut. Only open weekends. Before COVID it was always open. They're just getting back to normal, but again, come here on a weekend. Motorbike parking literally right outside, and you can go in there as well. And if you're really security conscious, you can lock your bike to that chain as well, which just proves they've thought of everything. So let's jump on the big JS, go home for a cup of tea, and then head back, because the weather's not that nice. Let me just clamber up. The weather's not that nice, and as much as I'm enjoying the bike, oh yeah, hang on. The weather's nice, but as much as I'm enjoying it, it's also not mine, so I don't want to spend too long on it, because I think that's how I could easily get trapped into buying one of these. I mean, it's an incredible bike. It's really, really changed my thoughts on GSs, as I've said multiple times, but it's not as terrifying as you think. So I'm going to go home, have a cup of tea, do some work stuff for a bit, and then I shall head back for about 4:30 and go out. If it was summer I probably could have gone for a lot longer, but I'm going to play it short today, because as well I don't want to spend too long on this, because I know I probably would buy one, because they are brilliant bikes, really brilliant. So you push this and it takes about 10 years. Great, this is the only thing I don't like about bike stop, is getting off this drive. So we're ready to go. Oh, that's second, neutral. Right, we go back through the country lanes. Show you the, if you can't see it already, that's the headlight. Very strong. That's definitely powerful. Right, this is the thing I hate the most about coming out of here. This massive stupid hill. I'm going to do a full-on 3-point turn. And the nice thing about bike stop is they do actually ride motorbikes as well. They're not just salesmen. And I must have the key fob on me somewhere. Anyway, this has really changed my mind on the GS. It's a fantastic bike. It's lacking a little bit of character, but I suppose after 40 years, so much change does mean that maybe you've ironed out some of the quirks. But when I'm talking quirks, I'm talking about bangs and crackles and stuff, and I think all this Euro 5 stuff as well does just mean that it's just not what it used to be. Anymore, so we're going to keep going around. Yeah, this is what I mean, it's a bit shouty, it's a bit panicky. I've got 42 miles left, and I don't know how to get rid of that, so I'm probably just going to ignore it for now. High Street, no, it's not that one. Oh wow, there's no thinking involved. I think you press menu. Oh, there we go. Okay, wiggle that wheel a bit and it goes away. And again, low speed, 3 or 4 miles an hour. Very, very easy actually. I've just stopped, I've got my left foot flat on the floor, and again, I'm very short. So don't be scared about the size of the thing actually, because I was. It's not so bad. This is the bike stop again, let me show you. A lovely place. Martin, oh, what a nice guy. He just wants to chat and then see what he can help you with. It's yeah, so what I was saying about J&S is, J&S are good, the bike stops obviously my favourite. Bike Stop chooses more premium kit. J&S seems to target those who are on a bit more of a budget, which is obviously fine and stuff, but also oh, I can't, to go around here. Yeah, when I go to J&S, they always try and sell me the cheapest thing, you know, which is good. I don't want to spend money for the sake of it, but if you've gone there for a nice set of Dainese trousers and they try and sell you Alpine Stars, it's like they don't quite know their market. You know, Dainese, lovely and comfy. I've got Dainese on today, really comfy. I've got sweaty legs, my knees especially are quite sweaty actually, and they're so comfy. I really don't feel like I'm wearing nothing at all. But you know, J&S, I don't quite understand their business model, because they're always trying to sell you the cheapest thing. So if you go in asking for an OI, they try and sell you a Shark. They're both great helmets, but if you went in asking for something specifically expensive and you've got a BMW parked outside, do you think the business people in them would go, oh, let's just show this guy straight to what he's come in and asked for, rather than trying to weirdly pass him off something cheap? It's not quite, you know, do you get what I mean? It's odd that they would not try and upsell you something more premium. Obviously a quarter cord rocker, that's mental. I don't earn that much money. But I've always found J&S to be a little bit odd, but they're helpful for me because they're quite nice and near. But Bike Stop, they understand why these clothes cost so much. They understand how long you'll probably hopefully get out of that lining. And again, they stock more premium kit like Dainese and stuff like that. So whoa, straight around the corner with no hesitation. Fantastic. I really like the Bike Stop, if you haven't guessed already. I really like this bike. So quick to just lift up. Again, I don't think I'm doing a wheelie, but it does feel like the front has got bags ago. I'm not going to go back on the motorway. It's just not really for me. It's a bit miserable. I don't want to go on the motorway just for the sake of it. So as long as I can remember how to find that little country road back, I think I'm just going to take that. Here we go, right round the corner. Up and over. Whoa, that is stunning, 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 stunning. I've never met a bike that instills that much confidence. Only problem is I really like retro. I suppose I could just get this and then get a classic that would truly fulfill my retro desires. It's not that bad anymore. Let me take the screen down. Hopefully you've got a better view now. Just so smug on this bike, really. No, I was going to gun it, but busy people. Won't take me long. Let me just swap battery. Ready and on. Fantastic. And I'll show you high beam. That's your high beam. And actually, if you notice, it's doing small tilts as well. Ready? Smart. Very, very clever indeed. Impressive. That's what I've got to say. Right, that's enough faffing. Clamber up. I am quite small, but I can actually get up and over the seat. You can do the thing where you stand on the pegs and do it that way, which I have no trouble with. I'll find out my height. I'll put it on the screen now. Okay, you recording? You need to tilt up a bit. Oh, neutral. Right, let's go back through the lanes, back to nearer my house. We'll get some petrol, and then it's a bit drizzly, and I've got nowhere in particular to go, and I think I've got enough for the video, so I'm going to just leave it outside the house for a bit, have a cup of tea, do some emails and stuff, and then by the time I know it, once I've watched enough location, it'll be time to go and pick the R9T up. A little bit of a slip from the front end there. I think that was a rock under the tyre. It definitely felt a little bump. I don't think that was just a normal slip. There you go. How old is she? Ancient! Old people drive Honda Jazzes. Never seen a young one with a Jazz. Head home. I'm going to put some petrol in it. You don't have to, but you know, they give me this bike for 6 hours. The nicest thing I could do for them is return it with the same amount of petrol in. And again, it should only be about 10, 15 quid, something like that. It's a big tank, but although actually these petrol prices, 10 or 15 quid, probably only get you about a litre. And I say the big GS, it's actually not that big. Like, I think when I was looking at my Triumph Street Twin, then this, I was of course dwarfed in comparison. But again, they are two very different bikes. The Triumph Street Twin is smaller than a lot of people think it is. But then, when you look at the original Triumphs, they're even smaller, most of them. It's only big GSs like this that have made other bikes feel small in comparison. And again, I think it's mainly the gear I'm wearing, but I am sweating actually. I don't have COVID, don't worry. Testing every day for, well, months really, so I can't actually feel anything. Let's do the flash on. But yeah, I've got to say, I am sweating. So again, massive thanks to Helmet Head. I would have normally just not chosen not to ride until like March, April at least, but a massive thanks to Helmet Head actually for showing that you can have a lot of fun even if it's not very warm at all. There was actually in my schedule about a 2-week gap. I'll just ride around the hedge. There was actually a 2-week gap in my schedule, and I thought, oh, I could go to Ireland. And then this big storm came, and then some meanie booked me for some work, didn't they? Well, people come to me and say, "Are you free?" And I go, depends on what it is. And they tell you, and it tends to be something really good. So I say yes most of the time. I'm going to have to put the big screen up. Sorry guys, I hope you can still see enough, but I'm getting rinsed here. But yeah, so I did have a 2-week gap. I could have gone to Ireland, but I'd actually quite like to do that work. It seems like it would be very worth it, so I'm going to actually take the work. And you can probably hear and see that it's getting pretty rainy now. Oh, hang on. There you go. So hopefully I could still edit enough goodness out. But yeah, so I've got the right gear on, so oh, I hate this corner. Come on, you stupid. I hate this corner so much. I'm never ready for it. There was one time when I passed my test and I came back on my big bike, I shot through it, and thankfully there was the overrun bit. Otherwise I probably would have gone bang into a hedge or something. Ah, one other thing I've totally forgotten to say, and really probably should have mentioned at the start, is in April I'd planned to go to Morocco. Unfortunately, currently the ferries have not been running for over 3 months. So even if you do a test and all the rest of it, you are still not able to get off into Morocco, which is a bit of a shame really, because I'd really like to visit, and I had booked all of April off. You know, people would ring me and they'd say, "Oh, are you free in April?" And I go, "Do you know, actually, no, I'm not free in April. I'd quite like to go on holiday, thanks." Thankfully, I've managed to rebook most of the people who said no. So it's looking like I can't go to Morocco in April, which is absolutely gutting. If you watch any sort of van life stuff on YouTube, you know there's someone called Craig and Amy, and they've got a bus called Custard. and they are officially illegal immigrants in Morocco. So they had to go to the courts to get their papers signed so that they could export their vehicle, and they've had to book their vehicle onto a ferry to leave as well. So they went there before Christmas to do Christmas there, and they're still not allowed to get on a ferry back. Flights have reopened, and some uninformed websites say that ferries are going, but the general rule is ferries are not going at all, which is a real nightmare. So I'd like to hope they've come to their senses by April and realised that if you're letting people in on flights, you've got to open that ferry route back up as well, but I don't think they have, so they're a bit stupid. But yeah, so sad news, unfortunately. I cannot go to Morocco in April currently. If nearer the time they change the rules, I'll update you. And basically what will happen is I will do 2 weeks of work, and then from the last week of April, that's when I'll get going. I didn't think it was going to stop then. From the last week of April, that's when I'll get going on holiday. So I still have 5 weeks between when the last bit of work I have stopped and when the next bit starts, which is pretty normal for me. It's actually impressive for me to be booked that far in advance, to be honest with you. So it's normally the case that I'm only booked a month or two in advance. So anyway, so I thought I'd just let you know, unfortunately, so currently it doesn't look like I can go. My cousin, well, I'll try and get this right, cousin's husband Jake, he has had a call, because he books for both of them, he's had a call from their tour provider saying we don't think you can go till September, October, and we're cancelling your trip. So here Debbie and Jake will still go to Spain and Portugal, and we'll enjoy some lovely hot riding in Spain and Portugal on his new Africa Twin, but they're not going to go to Morocco. They still want to go, just like me, but there we go. So what I'm going to do is, nearer the time, if it says that the ferries are reopened and it's near the holiday season, then I'll go for it, but I don't want to risk getting trapped and losing months and months of work for, you know, what could just be a few weeks holiday. So I'm kind of waiting to see. I'm going to see how it works out, but I thought I'd just let you guys know. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite look like I can go to Morocco like I'd planned, but don't worry, I've got a plan in place. What is the plan? Well, I'll just go somewhere else that actually wants tourists, and actually wants tourists to come and spend their money, and something where it's only a land border, because that should be a bit easier. If they start shutting down, I know within a few hours I can be back at the border. What bike am I taking? Of course I'm taking the R9T, but this bike is comforting, fast, assuring. There is something about me that wants this bike. But I really love the R9T. I haven't even had it a year yet, and a lot of the things this bike is doing, the R9T can do as well. You know, you get a comfier seat on the R9T, it's comfier. You put a quick shifter on the R9T, I'm sure it's possible. And I just think, oh, this is a lovely bike, but I really like my R9T, and I don't think I can change. So for a loyal fan of mine, and you also have an R9T, I think, don't worry, I'm not going to change to one of these just yet. But I would like to apologise to every GS rider I've ever annoyed. You are of a certain age, most of you, but your bike is utterly incredible. So yeah, sorry about that. But also, thanks for spurring me into actually jumping on one and trying it out. It turns out it doesn't have a heated seat. I'm just a bit sweaty today. But it does have heated grips, and they're on number 1 at the moment. I've got to say, on number 1 they are strong. So I don't know what number 2 would be like, but very, very strong. And when you look at these kind of stress buster tours and things like that, I think I could easily spend a few days on this, as long as there was a low seat option, because I am short. Oh, it's miserable. Yeah, I feel like I've, you know, I've seen what I was hoping from the bike, so I'm just making my way to nearer my house and nearer the petrol station. Thank you. So I can fill up. It's the only petrol station I know about, to be honest, in the area. So I'm going to go to that one, fill up, go back home. It's this wet, neck toggle's a bit wet. Let's try standing up for a bit. Oh wow. Yeah, it's a bit of a lean forward standing up, but you can say very, very comfy. And again, very nice and flickable. All the weight still stays on the pegs, so yeah, impressive. Hopefully you can see still on the camera, it's still a bit wet and rainy. But wow, this is the king of touring, and I'm sorry if you've just brought your new bike, your Africa Twin or anything, but this still probably is the best I think I've ever seen. Just so impressive. And the speed of the thing as well, it's such a surprise. I've got it in road mode now. I started the day in rain. I think officially I should go back into rain mode now, but hey, little pheasant. Oh god. But it's really nice, and that screen really does help. But no, I'm starting to get a bit wet now. If I had somewhere specific to be, I'd just push on. And this bike really does inspire you to just push on and on and on and on and on. But no, I can't justify staying out here any longer. It's not very good for you guys to visit. I'll probably end up trimming most of this off anyway, because it's probably not very entertaining. But there we go. I am warm and dry. I can feel my neck toggle getting a bit wet, and also I'd only planned to take the bike out for an hour or so. I've got it for 6 hours because it's my loan bike for the day whilst they're servicing my R9T, but yeah, it's not quite the same. But no, I think the weather's truly turned, and this is not quite as enjoyable as it was when I started, so I'm going to be traditional BMW and head home. So I do think, come rain or shine, this is the touring king. Come on, come on, come on. A great bike for touring, and I can see why so many people tour on a BMW. When I was in France and Spain back in sort of September, October, every single person I met had a BMW. I met like one Kawasaki rider, and that was their kind of imitation of this. And other than that, I was there, and I just thought it was, you know, executives, too much money, and they just wanted somewhere to stuff it all. But actually, I think no, it's definitely the opposite. It is a bike with truly, truly a lot more to it than this. And that quick shift is so easy to get used to as well. I thought that quick shift would take me ages, but no. As long as you're actually high in the revs and you use it, it's pretty good. Otherwise it's just kind of aimlessly kind of kicking for no reason. But no, I can back to what I was saying about touring. I generally can understand and really, really see why people tour on this bike. It's confident, it can go anywhere. It's raining, but I just don't care. I really am snug as a bug in a rug. And again, the poor road surface, really, I don't feel it at all. I'm just gliding over these little bumps. The quick shift is fantastic. The brakes have felt pretty strong. The technology hasn't actually interfered as much as I thought it was going to be honest with you. I thought I'd have warnings and all sorts all over the place, but no, it's a very, very happy little bike. And I'm really not scared of it. So I think, to summarise, although there's a bit more riding to be done, this bike is stunning. I'm sorry for all the stuff I said in the past about the GS, this is one hell of a bike. I don't have the attraction to it than I do the R9T. Let me take the screen down a bit, just see if that helps you guys at all. Oh wow, there's a big difference. I might have to put that screen back up. But when I take photos with this bike, I don't have the attraction that I do the R9T. But I do, but it's in a very different way. I look at the R9T and it reminds me of the heritage and the fact that it's very much like the original one. Oh my god. Oh, I thought they were sheep. No, they're just really sweet dogs. It just reminds me of, you know, what was originally there. But also, we are in 2022. Technology is here. It's fantastic. I love with the little lights that tilt and lift and do fun things like that. I just don't know why. Comfort-wise, it's about the same. I'm getting pain on my lower wrists, like where my hamstrings. I'll put what they are, tendons. They're kind of strings that go down your arm and attach to your arm. So they go down your arm and attach to your hand. I'm not that comfy on them, to be honest with you. And they're getting stretched as well, but maybe it's the gloves. Right. I'm in no rush, so I'll just wait here for someone to make up their mind. Here we go. So how does it work with a keyless ignition? Well, you stop it, turn that off, and then you kind of just hang on, shut that off, get that, there you go. Pretty easy. I thought the stand would be easier to find, to be honest. Let's try not to put too much in, but also I've enjoyed the petrol of today. I hope that's rain dripping down my arm and not petrol. Cheapest stuff, of course. Right, so that shuts, and then you can just pull it. Oh, I've turned it on. No, I don't. Steering lock, come on. Ah, yeah. Good. Right, let's go. Oh, let's get some petrol. Could fill the time if I had more to do, and if I'd really planned it, I bet I could have made it to the Cotswold, blast around a bit and come back, but you know, it's not my bike. It's only been loaned to me for the day. And this is a bit of a surprise. I generally didn't think I'd be given one. I thought I was getting... Well, I did. I got an R9T, which I thought, well, you don't need me to go out on the loan R9T, because you've seen me on an R9T already. Push this again, turn it on. There we go, sun's coming out, just as I decided to go in, but now I'm going to head back now and make a cup of tea. Well, here we go, it's a little bit later and I'm just back out on the bike again. I just stopped off for a little cup of tea and a bit of food at my house, and now I'm back out on the bike. I hadn't planned to go back this early. BMW have finished the service of my bike anyway, so this was about time they wanted me to start heading back. But what they've said is they've really been struggling with my seat, and they've managed to get it off with about 3 people sort of jiggling it in the same time, but I've always had troubles with the seat. It basically turns out the nut, the captive nut that my bolt goes into in the seat is loose, and it's just been spinning and spinning and spinning, and it's not very reassuring for me. So I'm just going to head over, because for a while I've been wanting this seat, and what it is, it's a seat with luggage rack as well. I just think it looks incredible. It gives the BMW, it gives the R9T a really good stance. So I've been looking at this seat for a little while, and my current seat won't go back on. So basically I've got the option of 300 quid for a replacement direct, or for an extra 100 I can put this luggage rack on it. Now my friend India, she does come out on the back occasionally, but she finds it incredibly uncomfy, and admittedly I don't think I'm going to take a pillion on this bike really. If I do, they'll just have to sit on the rack and be really uncomfy. You know, if I'm just running someone emergency over to the fuel station or something, then that might have to be my only choice. So I've decided that's the choice I've got really, is I can either get a direct replacement or 100 quid extra. I can get something that looks really cool. And admittedly, I've wanted a single seat for a very long time, so I think I've decided I'm just going to fit this single seat onto the R9T and have the luggage rack at the back. I do think they look cool. I've been sort of looking at that style for a very long time. So they said come in, because they just want to order it, so I think they want me to just be sure. And I just want to be sure, because I've just done a description on the phone of what the seat and rack looks like, and they're called different things in Europe than they are to the UK. And I was looking at BMW Euro Motor ads, so I don't want them to buy, rush and fit this part only for it to be a bit dodge. And also I've got a few questions, because I've just brought the luggage rack because I've just brought the pannier frames for the R9T. I just want to make sure that whatever they're about to fit isn't going to take away any of the holes that I need for my luggage rack, because I can imagine that being a nightmare. But not as much as the nightmare of this big seat. So anyway, so I think it's going to be more expensive than I thought today. The service is about £400. I know the same, the seat and rack is about £400 as well. And ultimately, if I keep kicking this seat problem down the road, I'm going to end up with a real pickle where even BMW can't get the seat off, and then we're really in trouble. So the seat was looking pretty old, had a lot of stains on it, and I just think it might be time for a new one. So just heading in, having the last ride on the massive GS. So what are my closing thoughts on the big GS? It's incredible. It is incredible. As I've said many times in my video so far, I'm really sorry I've been mean about GSs and GS riders in the past. This bike does convince me it's capable of absolutely everything. If I had space for a second bike, there's no question I'd be going for a second bike. Would I sell my R9T for one? No, not yet. I thought maybe the R9T was giving me uncomfy wrists, but I'm just finding out now my tendon, I can feel the pain on this bike as well, so it must just be me. Would I sell this bike for... Would I sell my R9T for this bike? Not quite yet. I'm saving for a house deposit and I can't quite justify it. I wouldn't buy new anyway, I'd buy used. Now, quick shifter. That's what I'm going to have to ask if they can fit to the R9T. That could be incredible. So, would I sell my R9T for one of these? No, sorry. It's nothing to do with the GS not being a good bike. It's a stunning bike. I've absolutely been blown away by it today. But I really like retro, and I've only got space for one bike. And at the moment, yeah, I do long trips, but what I mainly do is just go out for an hour or two. And this bike is more than capable of that, but I just think it's quite a big option. If you only want to do short rides, for me this is like, you know, more than capable, but I quite like, you know, the retroness of the R9T, and also I spent a lot of that money on the R9T recently. I've just had it serviced today. The luggage arrived for it yesterday, so that's another £1,000. I'm fitting another seat to it today, so that's another 400 quid. So I just think I need to have a bit more time with the R9T, but there's no question, if I won one of these, or I got to move out sooner than I thought, there's absolutely no question I would love a GS. And I've got to say, I'm not scared of the size of it anymore. I was really worried about, you know, the size of it, and am I too big for it, am I too small for it, but I pushed it around the drive this morning, and actually, apart from the fact that I can basically lie on the tank while still standing up, apart from the fact that the tank is like nipple height with me, That's a nice image for you. I'm not entirely against it, to be honest. But no, would I get a big GS yet? Not quite yet. They're incredible bikes. I've absolutely loved being out on one today. But I'm going to do a bit more on my R9T before I look at one of these. But there's no question, I now understand why people with R9Ts generally why people with GSs generally tend to ride longer each day, because you just can. When I've been out on the bike all morning. When I got off the bike this morning, it did not feel like I've been on a motorbike at all that day. And I've really enjoyed it. Oh god. The screen I'd probably have to get used to. I don't know if I quite feel the benefits, but again, I did feel more sheltered. But no, would I get one of these? Not quite yet, I think. Not yet. I think I've spent too much money on the R9T, and I just can't justify one of these yet. I mean, they're incredible bikes, and they really do fill you with confidence. But I really can't justify buying one just yet. I'm trying to save for a house deposit, and although I could get one of these, it's not quite the same. So thank you BMW for letting me have it for the day, but it's not yet. Also, I'll wait for the price to go down, because I really do love this TFT display. And for about 12 grand you could get yourself one with a TFT display. So if I sold the R9T for like 8 grand, which is possible, that's not a ginormous jump onto one of these actually. So there are options for me, but I just can't justify it. I'd like to do a bit more saving for the house, but I think in the future I would love one of these. The goal would be for it to actually be alongside the R9T. I think that would be really interesting. So that's something I'd be really interested in looking at, actually. One of these as a friend of R9T, rather than a full-on replacement, because they could go quite well together, to be honest. The seating position's very comfy. I haven't felt it's too big and scary, actually. That was my biggest worry, is the just size of it. I mean, it's a noticeably large bike, but I'm really liking being kind of in it, cocooned by it. The brakes are nice and strong. I didn't get to use the cruise control, but there are so many times where I'd really like the cruise control to come in useful. Wow. I don't know if you saw that on the camera, but I definitely had the back end out there. And just tiny things like that. I said I didn't want all of this technology, but actually self-cancelling indicators, lovely. Heated grips, fantastic. Martin Fentor's got a heated seat, and got to say, I've just got a sweaty bottom, but if you've got a heated seat, that is fascinating. But my closing thoughts, it's stunning. It's really, really beautiful. And would I have one? Yeah, quite happily. What's this geezer doing? And there we go, stopping in a weird place like this. It's not too much of a trouble, actually. There we go. So what are my closing thoughts on the GS? Let's do this really slowly. What an incredible bike. I am truly stunned by this bike, and yeah, I'd love one, but not yet. Can't justify it just yet. So there we go. I suppose the closing thing is, don't knock it till you try it, because actually that's one hell of a beautiful bike, and a massive thanks to BMW Wellin for letting me out on it for the morning. Right, let's go see a man about an RMT, and I'll come back soon. But first, let's get this signed off.